Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is the disappearance of Heather Teague. Now, the strange thing about this case is that we literally have one witness who has come forward to say that they knew and saw what happened to Heather, and that's literally it. That is all the information we have from that one witness. If you guys have any more suggestions, please do let me know and I will look into them for you. Heather Teague was born on the 25th of April in 1972, and she actually grew up in the state of Kentucky. At the time of her disappearance, she was described as a Caucasian female, 23 years old. She had long brown hair, green eyes, and visibly flat feet, which I believe is something called fallen arches. She was 5'2" and weighed between 90 and 100 pounds. Additionally, she also had scoliosis, or like this gradually worsening curvature of her spine. On the 26th of August in 1995, Heather had gone to Newburgh Beach in Henderson County in Kentucky. She was there sunbathing, enjoying the lovely weather, the lovely beach, and just doing what she wanted to do. This was when a witness came forward, Tim Walthall. So he lived across the river, and he said that he is casually scanning the beach with his telescope, and he just decided at that time to just have a quick scan of the beach, which he did, and whilst doing that he sees this white Caucasian male running out from the forest, and this person came up from behind of Heather, grabbed her by the hair, held her at gunpoint and dragged her away into the woods. He gave a description of the man, said that he was about 6 foot tall, he weighed between 210 and 230 pounds. He said that he had brown hair and he had this bushy beard. He wasn't wearing a t-shirt, but he was wearing jeans and oddly a mosquito kind of head thing, a mosquito hat. So after he'd witnessed this, he waited 20 minutes before he called the police, because apparently he was waiting to see whether Heather came back out. So she'd left her stuff on the beach. Obviously she just got dragged away at gunpoint. All the stuff's still there, and so he's waiting to see if she comes back. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And I'm not trying to say anything bad against the witness, but if you saw someone being dragged off by their hair no less at gunpoint, like, would you really wait 20 minutes to call it in? There's also speculation that potentially he was looking through his binoculars a lot at the people on the beach, spying. I don't know. And that maybe because of that, he didn't want to call the police. But at the end of the day, literally somebody has just been dragged away and has had a gun held to her. You can't misconstrue that as like some sort of couple's argument or anything like that. There was no way that that was anything other than what it was. So why he waited 20 minutes to call the police because he waited for her to come back for her belongings makes no sense to me whatsoever. Anyway, he did later describe this person and helped the police make a composite sketch. Police conducted searches immediately. They were looking around the beach, they were looking in the woods, all around the surrounding areas, and during the search they found Heather's plaid swimsuit near to where the witness had said that she was dragged into the woods. The search was very extensive, but despite police's best efforts, they didn't find anything. They found no evidence as to where she'd been taken to, what actually happened to her, and just literally couldn't find any leads in her case. Since this, Heather's case has pretty much ran cold. Over time, a few leads have dripped in here and there, but they haven't amounted to anything. Heather is still missing. It is not known whether she is alive or deceased, and to this day her case remains cold and is unsolved. And it's really heartbreaking that there was literally a witness to her abduction. He described the man, he described everything. Yes, okay, he did wait 20 minutes before he called it in, but she's still not been found. They did extensive searches straight away, well, as soon as they could, and she's literally not been found. There was a main suspect in Heather's case pretty much straight away, and this was a guy called Marvin Dill. Marvin owned this car that matched the description that police were given by a witness that said that they had seen this red and white Ford Bronco in the parking lot next to Heather's car. Later on, Marvin was actually stopped at a routine police stop, and they opened his boot, trunk, however you want to call it, and inside they found like this arsenal of things that could be potentially used to commit crimes, a lot of crimes. They found multiple guns, a knife, duct tape, rope, gloves, as well as hair that actually could have been a match for Heather. They also found a blood stain on the tailgate, and many people do believe that Marvin did actually look like the composite sketch that was created by the police from the witness. Marvin's family did actually come forward though and say that at the time of Heather going missing, Marvin was actually bald, so he had shaved his head completely. He also didn't have a beard, and even if he hadn't shaved his head, his hair color was not brown, which is obviously drastically different from the description given by the witness. Police let Marvin go, but later, when more tips and things came in, decided that they did actually want to speak to him again. So the police are on the way to go and collect Marvin, and when they arrive, he has already taken his own life. He had heard that the police were coming for him, that they wanted to speak to him again, and he took his own life. And when the police arrived there, he was deceased. It was too late. I don't understand why they actually let him go in the first place. If he's got all those things in his car, it's for nothing good. You don't generally have knives, guns, duct tape, rope, blood, hair in your car, and you know it's innocent. Like, you know, I just don't get it. Why did they let him go? Those things are like a bad guy arsenal to me, and yeah, they just let him go. I don't know. Now, early on, Sarah Teague, which was Heather's mother, did really think that Marvin was actually the person that abducted Heather, but that was mainly because the police thought that, and so they kept telling her that that was kind of him. He was their lead suspect, and she didn't have any reason to doubt them. As the investigation went on, Sarah asked the police if she could listen to the 911 call that was made by the witness, but the police wouldn't let her hear the call, which I don't understand. It's a public record and they just wouldn't let her hear it. Heather's mother continued to look for leads, and eventually they did let her listen to that 911 call. That was in 2008. They allowed her and her lawyer, the only two people were allowed to listen to it. And this was 13 years after she had gone missing. 13 years. She was allowed to listen to it to a second time with her lawyer in 2016. So another 8 years after that, which would be 21 years after Heather actually went missing. And this is where things get strange, because Sarah and her lawyer claim that the first phone call that they listened to was not the same as the second phone call that they listened to. She said that the 2008 call was very short, and in the call the witness described the abductor's appearance, something that wasn't contained in the second call. Police did state that this was the same call, but Sarah and her lawyer believe very differently. The call has actually now been released to the public, and it's 8 minutes long, so obviously I'm not going to put all of that in. If you want to search it up, please do look into it. Just type it into YouTube and it will come up. Sarah does now actually believe that the police focused too early on Marvin and potentially didn't look into other leads, and other suspects were not being followed up because they were just solely focused on him. Heather continues to look for leads with regards to her daughter's case, and in 2007 she did actually have Heather declared as deceased, but that was so she could get a hold of the FBI files and all of the evidence and everything with regards to the case, because those were the requirements that she needed to fulfill to do it. In these files, there were literally hundreds of reports and leads, but some of it was really heavily redacted, and so she still doesn't have all the information. That hasn't fazed Heather's mother though. She refuses to give up hope on Heather, and she could potentially still be alive out there somewhere. All she really is concerned about is bringing Heather home, whether it is unfortunately a body or whether, you know, hopefully she is still alive out there somewhere and she eventually comes home one day. There were also other people that were suspected in Heather's disappearance. One of them was a man named Christopher J. Bello, who actually lived in the area that Heather went missing. One of the main reasons that he was a suspect was that later on he actually pled guilty to attempted involuntary manslaughter. This was in connection to a death of a woman called Karen Fetzer in 1991. And he is actually serving time in prison for this crime. To this day, Karen's body hasn't been found, and he's actually a suspect in 3 other women's disappearances. Not only did Heather and Catherine look similar, they both had long dark hair and was of similar height, but again, he was known to be in the general area as to when Heather went missing. And the day that Marvin killed himself, took his own life, he actually completely did a runner. He just left the area straight away. I don't know whether he believed that maybe the police were coming for him next, coming to speak to him next, but that very day he just left. It was also found that Heather, Marvin and Christopher all had acquaintances that they all knew. Police investigating officers said that they believe that they do have ties with Christopher to Heather's disappearance. This actually leads to the theory that possibly more than one person was involved. Maybe it was Marvin, and maybe it was also Christopher. That potentially one abducted her whilst the other drove away. And it really could be the case. They had similar acquaintances. Maybe they like got together through those, and that is how they knew each other. And that could be why Christopher just left. Again, this is theory. We simply do not know. By no means is this fact. Christopher has never been charged with anything with regards to Heather and has denied that he has had anything to do with it. Another theory out there is that the person that made the initial 911 call, that witness, was the one that actually took Heather. He saw her on the beach alone, and he was the one that took her. He later called 911 20 minutes later. That is why he waited to report her as missing, and people believe that he had something to do with it. But again, he could have just been in shock. He could have waited that long because what he just witnessed totally shocked him, and he just couldn't comprehend what was happening. He was hoping that it was all a joke, a prank, and you know, that she would come back for her stuff and it would all be fine and dandy, but it wasn't. I honestly don't know what to think myself. I don't know how, obviously shock affects people differently, but a lot of people involved in this case like struggle to trust him. I don't know, probably because he waited so long to report it. And he probably does feel guilty for not calling sooner. Again, I don't know that. It's just my thoughts. He also inserted himself into the case like a lot, and that made people believe that maybe he had something to do with it too. But again, if he did feel guilty for not calling for 20 minutes, and that could have been the difference between Heather being found or not, kind of thing. It might not have been, but it could have been. And because of that, he felt guilty and he just wanted to be in there and get and help as much as he could. We just don't know. There's also the theory that Christopher was the one that abducted her alone, that Marvin was the one that abducted her alone, or that this was just a random person, that this was just an opportunist that saw Heather on the beach pretty much alone. There was, I believe, like one other person on the beach, but they were way over the other side. They wouldn't have seen anything happen because they were way over there. They saw Heather alone and then they took her. They seized their opportunity and they just took her. This case is really hard because, like I said, there's just no information to go on. The only information we have is that of the witness who apparently saw everything, and we just simply don't know what happened to her. We don't know if she is still alive out there somewhere. We just don't know. Her body has never been found. There's never been really much information leading to that. I found this case really frustrating and really sad because you literally got a witness there who saw everything, and she's still not been found. The case has still not been solved. She was so young. She went out to the beach to have a sunbathe, enjoy the sun and the nice weather, and then she was literally pulled away at gunpoint and murdered, kidnapped. Who knows? It's just awful. I really do hope that Heather is still out there somewhere, that she is alive and well, and that maybe one day she will be brought home. If not, I really pray that whoever did this to her, if they have taken her life or abducted her or whatever, is found eventually and they get the justice that they deserve, because Heather deserves justice, and that maybe one day her body can be brought home to a mother who will never give up hope on her. But yeah, that is the end of the case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for similar content. Thank you so much to all the regulars. I wouldn't be here without you. Anyway guys, that's all I have today on the case of Heather Teague. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.